Good morning. Today we'll have a class on diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus is the most common lifestyle disorder leading in the world. A brief note on glucose homeostasis. The normal glucose homeostasis is regulated by three mechanisms, that is glucose production in the liver, glucose uptake and utilization by the peripheral tissues, actions of hormones, that is insulin and glucagon. Normal blood glucose levels ranges from 70 to 120 milligrams per deciliter. This is an image showing normal glucose homeostasis. Whenever there is a low blood sugar, it stimulates pancreas for the release of glucagon. Then glucagon acts on liver, producing gluconeogenesis and release of glucose, thereby blood glucose levels elevates. When there is high blood sugars, it stimulates pancreas, causing release of insulin, which causes utilization of the glucose and lowers the blood sugar. Diabetes mellitus is diagnosed by random glucose level which is more than 200 milligrams per deciliter and fasting glucose levels more than or at 126 milligrams per deciliter, or abnormal oral glucose tolerance test which is done by taking 75 milligrams of glucose and read after 2 hours. The level should be more than 200 milligrams per deciliter. Coming to the classification of diabetes mellitus, there are many classifications. They include type 1 diabetes mellitus, type 2 diabetes mellitus, diabetes mellitus due to genetic defects of beta cell function, diabetes due to genetic defects in insulin processing or insulin action, diabetes due to exocrine pancreatic defects, endocrinopathies causing diabetes mellitus, infections, drugs, and genetic syndromes causing diabetes mellitus, and last, gestational diabetes. Type 1 diabetes. This is an autoimmune disease characterized by pancreatic beta cell destruction, which causes absolute deficiency of insulin. This accounts for approximately 5 to 10% of all the cases. It most commonly occurs in children younger than 20 years. Type 2 diabetes mellitus. This is a combination of peripheral resistance to insulin action and inadequate secretory response by the pancreatic beta cells. This is the most common form and accounts for 90 to 95% of all the cases. This can occur both in adults and children and adolescents. It is most commonly seen in adolescents due to increased rates of obesity. Diabetes due to genetic defects of beta cell functions include maturity onset diabetes of the young and mitochondrial DNA mutations. Under maturity onset diabetes of the young, commonly called as MODY, that is due to mutations in hepatocyte nuclear factor 4 alpha, glucokinase, hepatocyte nuclear factor 1 alpha, insulin promoter factor, hepatocyte nuclear factor 1 beta, neurogenic differentiation factor 1. Accordingly, they are named as MODY 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6. The other causes diabetes due to genetic defects in insulin processing or insulin action. It may occur due to defects in pro-insulin conversion or insulin gene mutations or insulin receptor mutations. The other type is diabetes due to exocrine pancreatic defects. Causes include chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, neoplasias, cystic fibrosis of pancreas, hemochromatosis, fibrocardiac pancreatopathy. The other type is endocrinopathies, which include acromegaly, Cushing's syndrome, hypothyroidism, pheochromocytoma, glucogonoma. Viral infections like cytomegalovirus, Coxsackie virus also causes diabetes mellitus. Many drugs like glucocorticoids, thyroid hormone, alpha interferons, protease inhibitors, beta adrenergic agonists, etc., they cause diabetes mellitus. Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, and Turner syndrome are the syndromes associated with diabetes mellitus. Coming to the normal physiology of insulin. Insulin is an anabolic hormone which is necessary for the uptake of glucose and amino acids, glycogen formation, triglyceride conversion of glucose to triglycerides, protein synthesis, and initiation of DNA synthesis for promotion of growth and differentiation. Insulin is formed in initially pre-proinsulin is synthesized in the endoplasmic reticulum, which is then transferred to the Golgi apparatus. There it is converted into proinsulin, and proinsulin is further converted into insulin, and they are stored in the form of secretory granules. When there is a stimulation of insulin, these secretory granules secrete insulin out of the glucose enters the cell through the blood transporter, and in the mitochondria, ATP is generated through phosphorylation, and this causes potassium channel inactivation, which results in membrane depolarization. This membrane depolarization causes influx of calcium. The influx of calcium causes secretion of insulin. Actions of insulin on adipose tissue include increased glucose uptake, lipogenesis, increased lipogenesis, and decreased lipolysis, that is breakdown. In the striated muscles, it causes increased glucose uptake, increased glycogen synthesis, and increased protein synthesis. In the liver, it causes increase in glycogen synthesis, increase in lipogenesis, and reduced gluconeogenesis. We move to the pathogenesis of diabetes mellitus. First, type 1 diabetes mellitus. It occurs from severe lack of insulin caused due to autoimmune destruction of the islet cells. The type 1 diabetes mellitus starts in childhood and manifests at puberty and progresses with age. The main mechanism in type 1 diabetes mellitus is beta cell destruction. The beta cell destruction is caused by T lymphocytes. The T lymphocytes include CD4 T cells and CD8 T cells. The CD4 T cells, the helper T1, causing the tissue injury by activation of macrophages, and these macrophages causes damage in a characteristic delayed type hypersensitivity response. CD8 T cells directly kills the beta cells and secrete cytokines that activate the macrophages. The locally produced cytokines damage B cells. A gamma interferon produced by the T cells, tissue necrosis factor, and interleukin 1 produced by the macrophages are activated during this immune response. Autoantibodies against the islet cells and insulin are also detected in the blood in patients with type 1 diabetes mellitus. Type 1 diabetes mellitus has genetic association with more than 20 genetic loci, which results in altered host immune tolerance, resulting in autoimmunity. The most important genetic association is class 2 MHC. Non-MHC genes associated include insulin gene and gene encoding the T cell inhibitory receptor. Environmental factors like viral infections like Coxsackie-virus, mumps, measles, cytomegalovirus, rubella, infectious mononucleosis that trigger autoimmune infections causing type 1 diabetes mellitus. Both genetic predisposition and environmental factors, they activate the autoantigens against insulin producing beta cells. These cells are processed and their presentation of autoantigen by the antigen presenting cells happens to the which activates T helper 1 lymphocytes and helper 2 lymphocytes. The helper 1 lymphocytes secrete through gamma interferons and interleukin 2 activates macrophages and autoantigens specific to the CD8 cells. The helper 2 cells secrete through interleukin 4 activates B lymphocytes to produce the autoantibodies against the islet cells. Together, all causes destruction of beta cells with decreased insulin secretion. Next, the pathogenesis of type 2 diabetes mellitus. This results from genetic susceptibility and is the more common type. This disease results from collection of multiple genetic defects and modified by environmental factors. There is no autoimmune basis in type 2 diabetes mellitus. The two main metabolic defects are insulin resistance and beta cell dysfunction. Insulin resistance. Insulin resistance means decreased ability of the peripheral tissues to respond to the insulin. It may occur because of abnormality in insulin receptor, decreased insulin receptor phosphorylation, decreased tyrosine kinase activity, and reduced levels of active intermediates in the insulin signaling pathway. Next is beta cell dysfunction. The beta cell dysfunction may be both quantitative or qualitative. Qualitative dysfunction includes loss in the normal pulsatile secretion of insulin or oscillating pattern of insulin secretion. Quantitative dysfunction include decreased beta cell mass, islet degeneration, and deposition of the islet amyloid. Obesity and insulin resistance are very much interlinked. The risk of diabetes increases as the body mass index increases. The levels of free fatty acids are inversely related to the insulin sensitivity. As the free fatty acid levels increases, insulin sensitivity reduces. Central adipose tissue is more lipolytic than peripheral site. Excess of free fatty acids overwhelm the intercellular fatty acid oxidation pathways, leading to accumulation of intermediate products like diacylglycerol, which attenuates the insulin signaling receptor pathways. Adipose tissue also secretes hormones called adipokines, which are pro-hyperglycemic adipokines and anti-hyperglycemic adipokines called as leptin and adiponectin. Leptin and adiponectin improves the insulin secretion. Adiponectin levels are decreased in obesity, and this contributes to the insulin resistance. Adipose tissue is also involved in inflammatory response as they secrete pro-inflammatory cytokines like tissue necrosis factor TNF-alpha, interleukin-6, macrophage chemoprotein 1. These cytokines induce insulin resistance by increasing the cellular stress, thereby resulting in type 2 diabetes mellitus. Peroxisome proliferator activated receptor gamma is a nuclear receptor and transcription factor expressed in adipose tissue. This promotes the secretion of anti-hyperglycemic adipokines, that is adiponectin, and shifts the deposition of NIFAS in the adipose tissue and away from the liver and skeletal muscles. This action is used in anti-diabetic drugs. The anti-diabetic drugs are directed towards this kind of action. In lean persons, there is reduced lipolysis and reduced free fatty acids and increased adiponectin. So the cells are insulin sensitive. In obese person, there is hypertrophy of adipocytes, increased lipolysis causing increased free fatty acids and reduction of adiponectin. Thereby inflammatory response is seen causing destruction of the beta cells and insulin resistance. The largest subgroup of monogenic form is maturity onset diabetes of young, which is called as MODY. This can result from loss of function mutations in one of 6 genes, which are important in the metabolism of glucose, that is hepatocyte nuclear factor 4 alpha, glucokinase, hepatocyte nuclear factor 1 alpha, pancreatic and duodenal homeobox 1, hepatocyte nuclear factor 1 beta, neurogenic differentiation factor 1. This MODY is an autosomal dominant inherited disease. It is early in onset, lack of obesity and lack of islet cell and autoantibodies and insulin resistance are the features seen in maturity onset diabetes of the young. The other monogenic form is neonatal diabetes. This occurs due to mutations in the subunits of ATP sensitive potassium channels. There is gain in function gene mutation causing activation of potassium channels, leading to the hyperpolarization of the membrane, which causes decreased insulin release, leading to diabetic mellitus. The other monogenic forms include maternally inherited diabetes and deafness, which occurs due to mitochondrial DNA mutations. The other next form is defects in proinsulin conversion and insulin Genetic defects in insulin action is another type of monogenic form of diabetes mellitus in which there are mutations affecting the insulin receptor synthesis, tyrosine kinase receptor activity. They all lead to insulin resistance. These patients have acanthosis nigricans, polycystic ovaries, elevated androgen levels, and abnormal deposition of fat in the liver. In general, the main differences between type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes are: type 1 diabetes usually is childhood in occurrence and also seen in adolescents. Type 2 is seen in adults with incidence increases with age. In type 1, the normal weight or weight loss as preceding diagnosis. Type 2 patients are obese. In type 1, there is progressive decrease in insulin levels. Type 2, blood insulin is increased in the early stage, normal or moderate decrease in the late stage. There is peripheral resistance of insulin in type 2. Circulating islet autoantibodies are seen in type 1 diabetes, while they are not seen in type 2 diabetes. Diabetic ketoacidosis is absent in type 1, it is more common in type 2. MHC class 2 HLA genes are linked in type 1, where there is no HLA linkage in type 2. Autoimmune destruction of beta cells is mediated by T cells is seen in type 1, whereas insulin resistance in the skeletal muscles, adipose tissue, and liver is seen in type 2. There is no autoimmune action. Absolute insulin deficiency is in type 1, relative insulin deficiency and beta cell dysfunction is seen in type 2 diabetes mellitus. Coming to the islet cells, there is insulitis in the early stages in type 1, marked atrophy and fibrosis of the islet cells with beta cell depletion is seen in type 1. Whereas in type 2, there is no inflammation of the islet cells. There is a focal atrophy with amyloid deposition and mild beta cell depletion is seen in type 2 diabetes mellitus. This is about type 1 and type 2 diabetes mellitus. Coming to the complications, diabetes mellitus results in diabetic ketoacidosis. This is the most common complication seen in diabetes mellitus. It occurs commonly in type 1 diabetes mellitus. It's rare in type 2 diabetes mellitus. It is due to insulin deficiency and excess of glucagon causes activation of lipoprotein lipase enzyme. This causes breakdown of the fatty acids, which results in increased free fatty acid accumulation. This free fatty acids are converted to fatty acyl CoA in the liver. They undergo oxidation, resulting in the formation of ketone bodies. This results in diabetic ketoacidosis. Long-term complications of diabetes mellitus include macrovascular disease and microvascular disease. The macrovascular disease, there is accelerated atherosclerosis in the large and medium-sized muscular arteries. While in the microvascular diseases, there is diabetic retinopathy, nephropathy, and neuropathy. Diabetic vascular diseases, there is accelerated atherosclerosis, myocardial infarction, gangrene of the lower limb due to advanced vascular disease, and hyaline arteriosclerosis leading to hypertension. The three lesions encountered in diabetic nephropathy are glomerular lesions, renal vascular lesions, pyelonephritis. The most important glomerular lesions are capillary basement membrane thickening, diffuse mesangial sclerosis, and nodular glomerulosclerosis, which is where there are Kimmelstein-Wilson lesions. This is the most characteristic lesion seen in diabetic glomerulosclerosis. This is a microscopic image showing diffuse glomerulosclerosis. There is a microscopic image showing glomeruli having a nodular sclerosis. There is another picture of kidney showing glomeruli tubules. Tubules are showing pyelonephritic changes and glomeruli showing sclerotic changes. The diabetic ocular complications include retinopathy, cataract formation, and glaucoma. The most common neural complications of diabetes are peripheral neuropathy and autonomic neuropathy, which causes peripheral neural numbness, tingling sensation to the patients. This is in brief about diabetes mellitus, pathogenesis of diabetes mellitus, and its complications. Thank you.